Okay, we're good to start.
Should I drop my email in the chat?
Do you guys want to make the email chain, or would you like us to?
If you want, we can do an email chain, but also, I mean, sure, we can put our
What
email
was
in
the
the
email
chat.
for?
What?
Why did you want emails? I thought that was for the email chain. I'm just curious.
No, we were just asking because you said you wanted to make an email chain, but I put my email in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for the chain. It's for the chain. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, I put mine in too.
I mean, if we're already sharing files, I don't think we're gonna need an email chain. If in the round we end up needing it, I'll make one.
Okay, I thought we were gonna send cases over the email chain.
We can send.
just use...
We can send it over the campus. There's like this file share setting.
Oh yeah, sure, we can do that as well. It's up to you.
Yeah, file share is a little bit easier for us.
Okay.
Okay.
Not really. Okay, Judge. Hello. For the record, my name is Sanvi Singh, and I'm the first speaker for Emerald DS. I will now be giving my affirmative constructive. Timer will begin on my... Oops.
Wait, sorry to interrupt, but did you send the file, your case?
Oh shoot! Wait,
Oops.
sorry, we forgot about that.
Yeah.
1 second. Give us a minute.
It's all good.
Sorry, give us 1 second. Something weird happened. Give us like 1 minute. We'll send it.
Yeah, it's true.
You guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready. Sorry, there was like some issue with our uploading. But we're all ready now. You guys should...
Okay, we'll let you know when we get the file.
Yeah, we just uploaded it.
Okay. I got it. Do you get that one?
Wait, where's it?
Okay. Wait, you're echoing a lot.
Wait, is this better? Sorry.
Yeah, that's better.
Wait, I don't see it. Where should I look for it? I don't use this.
It says that we've put it in, so I'm not...
It's like on next to the NSDA campus, like the
Yeah,
meeting
it's
you're
supposed to
in
be
right now.
under file share, right?
Yeah,
It
you just
says
press refresh.
oh, okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I'm downloading it.
Okay. I think we're ready to begin then. Once again, Judge, my name is Sanvi Singh, and I'm the first speaker for Emerald DS. Timer. We're going to be giving our affirmative constructive today. Timer will begin on my first word, which is now. Encrypted communications hold a lot more than what meets the eye. It may seem like a safe way to communicate with your loved ones, but in reality, it's a display criminals can hide behind. So Emerald DS affirms the resolution the U.S. federal government should require technology companies to provide lawful access to encrypted communications. Our first contention is human trafficking. There's a great amount of human trafficking happening after COVID. Polaris 20 counts that online recruitment of human trafficking victims has increased a significant 22% since the COVID-19 lockdown, with a 125% increase in reports of recruitment on Facebook and Instagram. Yet, the U.S. government's actions only add fuel to this fire. The government has substantially decreased funding for anti-trafficking programs, causing the fight against trafficking to take a devastating turn. Hudson from October reveals that the U.S. has frozen funding for more than 100 anti-trafficking organizations across the country that help victims escape their traffickers and gain access to the services they need to survive. Thus, human trafficking is increasing now more than ever, as Solas 24 states 1,091,000 people are currently being trafficked in the U.S. Thankfully, lawful access to encrypted communications halts traffickers. Wagner 20 asserts that lawful access is essential to prevent traffickers from using encryption to shield their illegal activities from law enforcement. This approach is proven by empirics. Australia has already seen the results. Sharma 24 highlights how Australia's police hacked into a dedicated encrypted communications platform called Ghost. Primarily designed for use by criminals, it was an encrypted application that enabled users to organize trafficking. The Australian police were able to infiltrate the release channel, enabling access. The director himself claims that decryption and gaining access to these messages allowed them to save the lives of over 50 individuals in Australia. Imagine how many more lives would be saved if the US, a country with countless trafficking operations happening, implemented this effective tactic. The impact of human trafficking is detrimental to victims, leading to cycles of generational trauma. John 21 states trauma from trafficking contributes to a wide range of adverse health conditions, dependencies on substances, and other long-term consequences that can potentially result in intergenerational cycles of victimization. Trafficking lowers life expectancy to only 7 years after being trafficked, perpetuating cycles of death. Our second contention is terrorism. The Department of Homeland Security 25 reveals that ISIS, an Islamic terrorist organization, is looking to inflict massive damage to the U.S. politically. ISIS maintains the enduring intent to conduct or inspire attacks in the homeland. Foreign terrorists continue to engage online supports to solicit funds, create and share media, and encourage followers to attack the homeland and anyone else they perceive as the West. In Iran and Russia, ISIS attacks by inspiring individuals to mobilize to violence killed more than 140 people. We cannot allow this to happen to the U.S. Right now, terror organizations are growing from encrypted communications. Their primary form of recruitment is to use encrypted communications, utilizing social media as a means to increase terror threats. Saladini 23 states that E2E is used by terrorists for operational purposes, like internal communications, training, attack planning, etc. HSR 25 records that ISIS urged supporters to connect with them on Telegram to discuss matters for carrying out terrorist attacks against Americans. The FBI committee has classified them as a persistent terrorist threat to America, already having more than 50 prosecuted cases in the U.S. Empirics prove that unencrypted communications were key to security. As BSP 18 explains, Snowden's leak revealed how valuable access to unencrypted communications were for U.S. counterterrorism efforts. ISIS used Telegram to indirectly facilitate a dozen successful but further thwarted plots in France. ISIS will continue to fuel instability in human rights if we do not take action immediately. Taylor 16 illustrates how ISIS is inflicting severe hardship on the local population by diverting food, medicine, fuel, and cash, along with homes seized from residents. Residents describe public beheadings, spies on every street, kidnapping on a regular basis, and more horrific events with ISIS. And so, to prevent human trafficking and terrorism, along with the catastrophes that come with it, Emerald DS is so proud to affirm. Thank you. If you guys could drop your case in there, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. Just give me one sec. Let me do that. Okay.
Are you guys using prep time to send the case or?
No, it's I uploaded it just now.
Okay.
Yeah, I can like unmute if you want. Like I won't be typing or anything like that.
We
still
haven't-
can't see it.
Yeah, we haven't gotten it.
I
Maybe-
can share my screen if you want, but it's been uploaded for me.
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
we got it. Thanks.
Okay. Is everyone ready then? Okay. Time to search my first word. Okay. Our sole contention is a weakened foundation. This debate isn't about catching criminals or sharing data. It's about something much bigger. Whether privacy stays a right for everyone or becomes a privilege the government can take away. Encryption is the foundation of American life. If you weaken that foundation even a little, everything built on top of it cracks. Our economy, our security, our power, and even the fight against climate. Once it goes, it never comes back. That's why we have to listen to the experts who build the systems all of us depend on. Wicker 20 lays out the dilemma clearly. Even a single backdoor weakened encryption for everyone. Criminals don't get caught. They simply switch to stronger foreign systems outside the US. Only regular people and small businesses get left exposed. That's catastrophic. Wicker explains how you end up catching the old, weak, naive, while the real targets slip away. I mean, the affirmative does not achieve safety, it only creates vulnerabilities. Right now, Fisher 25 finds that the economy is stable, growing at 1.9% with strong consumer spending and a healthy tech sector. Pringle 25 warns that our economy is heavily dependent on investment, tech investment specifically. If the tech sector slows down a little, shocks ripple outward, hitting Asian economies like Taiwan and damaging global markets. This is where encryption becomes essential. More than 124 finds that 99% of small and mid-sized businesses use encryption. 62% would reduce hiring if the encryption weakens. 58% would cut investment, and 83% of consumers stop buying after a breach, and a fifth never return. That shows the core problem. Trust is the engine of the economy. Weak encryption destroys that. More than 24 projects a $120 trillion global GDP hit, a 6% swing across the entire GDP if the encryption is weakened. That would trigger a global recession. And we have real world evidence. Australia has passed this law and it failed. ICE 21 reports that the industry suffered billions in direct economic damage. Wicker furthers that when a country mandates backdoors, no one buys anything from its cybersecurity companies. Companies choose the cheapest and fastest compliance method, not the safest, which makes security even worse. When people stop doing business with U.S. cybersecurity firms, innovation dies and trillions evaporate. Region 25 shows that the U.S. currently sends teams to help fight Russian cyber attacks, but those capabilities collapse if our own industry collapses. Loud 124 explained because 99% of businesses depend on encryption. Weakening it creates widespread vulnerabilities and massive regulatory uncertainty. It also finds that reduced trust leads to the 6% GDP swing more than what also projects. You know that after Snowden, companies fled U.S. services so quickly that Amazon and Google had to cut prices by 53%, costing $180 billion. That's what happens when trust disappears, and mandatory backdoors would cause a larger exodus. This is a breaking point. The Harvard Law Review finds that Facebook, Google, and Twitter already give information in 80% of investigations. But 225 shows that when governments demand backdoors, companies like Telegram and WhatsApp push back and cooperation collapses. This means that both sides share less information and security worsens. Any backlash kills collaboration, meaning the affirmative makes law enforcement even less effective. Economic collapse, because Thurman 25 says that without strong encryption, the world collapses instantly. He finds that trillions vanish overnight, and Great Depression is a blip in comparison. It's nothing in comparison. Also, cyber attacks cause national security crises. Bisaggio 20 writes that weakened systems face destruction, security breakdowns, and risks of group, triggering conflicts or even nuclear escalation. Next, climate change accelerates. CEIA 25 explains that the solar and storage industry is increasingly digital, and cyber threats are growing more frequent and sophisticated. Without strong encryption, clean energy adoption slows. Climate change then increases poverty, instability, and crime worldwide. Woodward 21 also shows that air pollution kills 10 million people every year, 50 times more than all violence combined. If weakened cybersecurity slows the shift away from fossil fuels, those deaths multiply even more. And remember, investors and consumers believe in this. They will divest immediately if backdoors are mandated. The collapse happens fast, the clear neg ballot. Are you ready for cross?
Yeah, I'm ready for cross. Before we start cross, though, I just want to make sure I'm the first speaker, so I'm going to take in the first question.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay, so timer will begin on my first word, which is now. So you guys said that businesses have given access in the past, but the law enforcement did nothing. Can you give me like an example of like a case like that the law enforcement did nothing on?
You can just look in the evidence directly, but like, well, we don't tell you that law enforcement doesn't do anything. We tell you that when you don't demand anything, they give you information. 80% investigations. But when you do demand things, they don't. So there's no point in demanding it if they give it to you anyways. But do you mind if we take a question now?
Yeah.
Okay. On your Snowden point, you say that they revealed how valuable terrorist and like unencrypting communications were for the U.S. So since Snowden was like a huge like U.S. government violating privacy rights, would you say that it was better to violate the privacy rights like of the entire nation and lose all this money to the economy, or to like not do it at all? What would you say is your opinion?
I think that you've completely forgotten our impact on that. What we're telling you right now is that when Snowden was able to gain access to these encrypted communications, they were able to thwart a dozen plots that the ISIS was about to conduct using Telegram in France. And so I think that if you do put our impacts on a comparative view, like you're mentioning, we would outweigh, and we were gonna
Yes,
will
wait.
explain more in.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, but you still haven't answered my question. Do you personally think that losing billions of dollars to the economy, destroying the economies and stocks of companies like Amazon and Google, destroying the United States economy, destroying all investor confidence
So then are you telling me that
worse
you
than
think
this?
money is more important than lives?
No, that's not.
We're
I'm just
talking about
asking you
millions of
what
lives.
you think. If you think affecting the entire nation and by indirectly the entire world, what do you personally think is more important here?
Okay, well, I'm telling you that lives are more important. And I'm going to take another question because we spent a whole minute on that. So, on your Australian empiric, did your Australian empiric cause a global recession, or like Australia's recession? As you mentioned before, it caused significant like economy like disruptions. Because you said that like they implemented like similar laws.
That's not what happened. That's not what we said in case.
So there was no economic recession. Okay.
No, that's also not what we said. You can look at our case. You're just making really big assumptions. But we say this distinctly and clearly in case if you look at it. I'll be taking a question now. Can you explain why ISIS can't just switch to a different communication thing? Why can't they make their own communication instead of going on these like WhatsApp and these technology companies?
Yeah, of course. So that's actually really simple logic. As I explained before with multiple cards, ISIS's main goal right now is to inspire other individuals in America to conduct terrorist attacks. They're not going to be able to communicate with the common public by using their own platforms. They need to communicate
Okay, yeah.
with them on social
Thank you.
media.
But
And
I think
they'll
that's
provide
crossed. Would you
evidence
guys
saying
like
they're commuting
would
on
you guys like prep
social
for your rebuttal?
Yeah, we'll take running prep. We'll let you know when it's done.
Okay, thank you.
exactly a minute of prep. That's all that we're going to be taking right now.
Okay.
Wait, sorry. How much prep was that?
1
1
minute.
minute.
All right. So, Judge, just to introduce myself, my name is Dundee. I'm the second speaker for Emerald DS, and I will be giving the affirmative rebuttal now. Is anyone not ready? All right. Time will begin my first word. So they tell you that currently the economy is stable, and this is because of strong consumer spending. But then they also tell you right after that that investment is essential for the global econ. Immediately after that, they say 99% of businesses would reduce hiring after a breach. They don't tell you that investment would lower after a breach. This is actually a turn on themselves in their own case, because they tell you that investment is essential for the global economy, but then they tell you that businesses would reduce hiring, not investment, after a data breach. And then in cross, when we asked them, did Australia's empiric cause a global recession? Just to remind you, Australia's empiric was also when Australia's economy crashed after it implemented similar regulations to the US. They just conceded the fact that it's true, no global recession will happen. It's only a state level recession. And furthermore, they tell you closer to the end of their constructed that Facebook, Google, Twitter already share their information. Well, if Facebook, Google, Twitter are already sharing information to the government about all their communications and things, then why isn't trafficking and terror down right now? Then the government already has all this data. Then why isn't trafficking down? We tell you that it's not down because the government needs encrypted communications to see for themselves about this data. Now moving on to their econ links, or sorry, their cyber attacks links. So they're telling you that having a backdoor to encrypted communication would weaken it, but the resolution isn't talking about a backdoor necessarily, because the resolution is talking about a lawful method to access encrypted communications, but we tell you the backdoors are unlawful. So first of all, topicality, the resolution is proposing that companies provide lawful access to end-to-end encrypted messages, not that companies provide a backdoor, which is unlawful. Brady 20 explains backdoor unlawful access achieved without the service provider's knowledge has nothing to do with the lawful front door access that law enforcement is seeking. As banks encrypt transactions but still maintain records that law enforcement can access, similar solutions should be found for encrypted electronic communications. So these similar solutions that we're talking about are far more robust and more secure than these backdoors, which are far weaker and therefore allow hackers to get in through easily. Yes, we concede the fact that hackers can get in through these backdoors easily, but what we're telling you is the resolution didn't even mention backdoors. It's talking about lawful access. By definition, backdoors are unlawful. Some lawful methods include escrow encryption or a split key. These are far more secure methods of lawful access that hackers can't access, because how this works is there's more than one key that hackers need to get in order to access this encrypted communication, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access this. And now, first of all, companies with encrypted communication already have their own backdoors. Pickwer 24 explains, to facilitate services, providers maintain control over keys to encrypt and decrypt data. Data is at risk from attacks. So what this means is affirming doesn't cause hackers to be able to use backdoors to violate consumers' privacy, because there are already backdoors in the status quo. If you negate, that won't change anything. Hackers already have access to backdoors. Consumers also don't care tremendously about their privacy when it's considered with convenience in mind. ManPro 17 explains, the Snowden disclosures had a negative impact on U.S. companies in their immediate aftermath, but confidence rebounded. In 2016, Facebook reported 1.86 billion users. This is up from 1.16 billion users in 2013. Google announced an increase from 2012. A study from the United States, United Kingdom, and Germany found privacy and security play a minor role in people's decisions to use a particular end-to-end encrypted messenger. Judge, what this means is people don't care about their privacy when it's considered with convenience in mind. So, for example, what we show you this with an empiric. After the Snowden disclosures, yes, the economy did go down for a brief period of time, but the economy rebounded. The impact of that the negation is talking about is short term. The economy will go down in the short term, but yes, it will improve in the long term. Thus, we urge an affirmative ballot. Thank you.
Awesome. So we'll be taking writing prep starting in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that was 1 minute and 9 seconds of prep. Did everyone get that? Awesome. Okay. So order is just gonna be down our case, which is the negative, and then going onto their case, which is the F. And for reference, I'm Hanwen Tang, second speaker on the neg for Acton-Boxborough. Are we all good to start? Cool. Okay. So, my timer will begin in 3, 2, 1. Let's start on our points. Now, on our first contention, all they try to say is it's the small businesses can reduce a recession, and then they say that we can lower it gets lowered under breach, but this argument makes no sense because our specific thing, our evidence about the breach specific tells you that not only do people stop buying, a fifth never returns. What they miss in this Montremer 24 evidence, right, is a bunch of key statistics. I'll list them out for you. 99% of businesses use encryption. That's key and conceded in the rebuttal. 62% reduce hiring if encryption weakens, and 58% cuts investment. This is completely overlooked in our case, and this is the direct link into the impacts we talked about. It's completely conceded. It flows through cleanly. These statistics are clear. They're made by experts, and they tell you that companies will not want to invest. Consumers will not want to consume because of encryption. This is the biggest economy, and it's going to trigger a 120 trillion GDP hit. That's what we tell you in case. But then, furthermore, look to all of their responses on our second contention. You can group all their parts where they talk about the backdoors. That's not the problem. The problem is the vulnerabilities it creates. Just by affirming, we've already told you clearly in case, it creates so many vulnerabilities. There are precedents that we've told you in empirics. That's what's causing the issues. Then they talk about how it won't cause a recession. It's only stayed because of Australia. But this Australia empiric is a perfect concession because we've told you that it suffered billions in direct economic damage, and it's not even a leading sector. Now, the US is a leading sector in cybersecurity. Imagine the effects it would have if the US cybersecurity sector collapsed. It's obviously much more. They don't weigh the scale there. Then they say that only 35% of people left, but again, that's not. Oh, then they say that like Facebook bounced back, but again, they miss our statistic that 35% of people left. In fact, trafficking is down right now too. So their entire point about how it's non-unique in the front, like how trafficking is already happening, makes no sense. We're literally solving this issue right now. Okay. And then they say that if Facebook's already degrading, why is trafficking all these impacts down? But they completely miss a bunch of things. Now, let's also on their case, they miss 3 key things. First, they miss that the internet will collapse. That's an impact that they've conceded. Trillions of trillions will lose. It's a recession worse than the Great Depression. Then they also miss that climate change outweighs all of the war, all of the economy. It's 15 times more dangerous. They miss the air pollution impact I've talked about in case. That's the biggest impact in the round. And even if you don't buy that, they miss the perceptual argument that consumers will think that these companies aren't worth investing in, and that's what causes a global cyber collapse. That's completely missed. Now let's go on to their case. Crime in general. First, weak encryption is really bad. There's so many warrants on this. Our evidence tells you that it makes it more vulnerable to threat actors. Technology is less secure for regular users. Criminals continue to develop other criminal problems. Break the clash here. Our evidence takes the app into account. Theirs has no contextualization. Encryption is not a barrier to investigation. It only creates more vulnerabilities. That's key. The government already has other methods to combat crime. Our evidence tells you there are other ways to seek access. The San Bernardino case is a clear example of this. Now, on to trafficking. The Trump administration doesn't care about trafficking, so it doesn't even make sense. Trump aggressively rolled back efforts to combat trafficking. Now, encryption is uniquely key to protect victims of trafficking and sexual violence. Lawful access will put them in harm's way because we need to store vitals. It's a vital part of safety information. Remember, the economy exacerbates trafficking, and that's our impact too. We need to stop this first. They're in Australian picks for our side. On to terror. Remember, what they miss is our Wicker 20 evidence, which says that they can just go to other countries. This is completely conceded, and it's great evidence because it completely dismantles their case because they can just go to other countries. Their own point about ISIS turns on themselves because terrorist groups like ISIS rely on public unencrypted channels. Yang 20 says that past efforts to curb this usage has not decreased activity, so their ISIS argument is not unique. There are so many companies. Think about Europe, think about Asia. There are so many companies that are not US companies that the terrorists can just go to. So it's a completely non-unique argument. Remember, the person that actually solves for it is by having encryption. This is completely overlooked in case. Remember who solves for poverty, who solves for our entire GDP and climate change and lives. It's us. Vote for the neg. We go for cross?
Yeah, before we start, can I just confirm I'll be taking first question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's start. You can tell me when we start.
okay. So, wait. Okay. I'm starting the timer in 3, 2, 1. So your very first response that you read in rebuttal, it was something about small businesses, how they're affected after a breach. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? And then I'll take a follow-up after that. I just need some clarification.
Elaborate on our statistics. Any like specific like
No,
small
like the
businesses.
very first response that you read in your rebuttal regarding businesses after a security breach.
Fifth will never return. That.
Yeah, can you read that?
Yeah, so 83% of consumers stop buying and a fifth never return. The core problem is trust. It's the engine of the economy. Weak encryption destroys it.
83% of consumers never return after what?
No, 83% never will stop buying after a breach and a fifth will never return. That's the core problem. Trust is the engine of our technological sector, which our economy relies on. That's the link, and weak encryption destroys it.
So that is like a hypothetical number, right? So 83% say they will stop buying, or 83 have already stopped buying.
Okay, so even if we like you say it's a hypothetical. It's
Okay, that answers my
backed by
question.
holistic
You can
evidence.
take the next question.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So let's talk about hold on, I'm just pulling up the case. Let's talk about your trafficking argument. Okay, so how exactly does encryption like stop all sorts of trafficking? Like how exactly is encryption uniquely so key?
Okay, well, that's what we read in our case. Basically, lawful access is necessary to access encrypted communication because on encrypted platforms, there is terrorists that are carrying out what do you call it? They're using encrypted communications for organizational purposes. And what that means is if you affirm, you give law enforcement access to encrypted platforms, and that allows law enforcement to catch these that organization happening and
Wait,
stop the
so you said encrypted platforms. Are you sure these are all US? Because I
yeah.
think so you're sure that this evidence is they all these platforms that they're using are all completely United States platforms.
Okay, well, even if they're not based completely in the United States, what we're telling you is the reason that the U.S. has jurisdiction over the companies that are over these companies that the terrorists are using is because the companies are having a direct impact on the people of the U.S. Right? These companies are allowing the terrorists to use their platform to influence these people into becoming future terrorists. So what that means is this is applicable for the U.S. because their jurisdiction is applicable on these companies because these companies have an impact on their citizens. Does that make sense?
Sure. We'll just take the argument from it now. There's 8 seconds left. Is there anything you want to say?
No.
Alright, cool. That's cross.
What was taking the running club for summary?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that was 1 minute 5 seconds of prep. So we have like a minute left because you took a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Once
I
again,
think you guys have 53 seconds because I had a minute 10, but I'm fine with the minute 7, so I think that's 53 seconds left.
Yeah, 55. We got 55, but it's fine.
Sure, we can go with 55 if you want at the same time.
okay. Once again, Judge, my name is Sanvi, and I'm going to be presenting my affirmative constructive. Is anyone not ready? Okay, perfect. Just for a quick off-time roadmap, I'm going to start by extending our responses and defending our case, and then I'm going to get into their case. Okay, timer will begin on my first word, which is now. Judge, it's clear AF wins this round. First, on our case, we tell you that AF is going to prevent human trafficking, which is currently on the rise, especially on end-to-end encrypted platforms. Remember, there was a significant 125% increase in trafficking on end-to-end encryption platforms like Facebook and Instagram. These are United States end-to-end encryption platforms. Remember, access to end-to-end encryption is the best way to solve this, as reveals our Wagner 20 evidence, asserting that lawful access is essential to prevent traffickers from using encryption to shield their illegal activities from law enforcement, and we prove this with empirics of Australia. We also tell you with our Saudi 24 evidence that traffickers are increasingly using these for operational purposes like internal communications, training, attack planning, etc. That is why access is so necessary. Now onto their case. First, in their rebuttal, they say that their stats they say that their stats kind of like reverse our links, but we reverse these links by telling you that all of these stats that they say are going to happen, like we reverse them by telling you that consumers don't care about privacy. All of their stats depend on whether consumers care about privacy, but we've already shown you that consumers do not care about privacy. Along with that, in the beginning of their summary, they talk about small businesses and say that we said something about small businesses, but we actually never really said anything in our rebuttal or our case about small businesses, so I'm not exactly sure what they were referring to. Next, they admit in second cross that 83% of their impact, like the impact that they say, I think they say specifically that 83% of the people say that they're going to leave the businesses is hypothetical. Judge, you should be voting on our impact because of probability. Compare their 83% of hypothetical number to our current 1,091,000 people who are currently suffering by human trafficking. Judge, we went on probability. Next, they say that backdoors will cause vulnerabilities, and that is not about backdoors. I don't understand how this makes sense, because vulnerabilities are not going to happen if backdoors don't happen. And we already tell you with our Brady 20 card that backdoors are not in this resolution, and that lawful access would not entail backdoors. Our opponents ask in first cross whether the loss of privacy rights or the loss of millions of lives is more important. After we've deconstructed this loss of privacy rights, we tell you that the loss of millions of lives is definitely much more important. As my partner reasons his rebuttal, the negations say themselves that the economy is currently stable because of consumer spending. Then they proceed to say that the global economy would suffer if you affirm because investment would go down. They contradict themselves here because according to their own case, investment isn't the main contributor to the U.S. economy. It's consumer spending. They don't implicate how affirming would harm consumer spending, so by their own logic, the U.S. economy won't be hurt by affirming. Therefore, Judge, you should be voting the affirmative on your ballot today. Lastly, they also, really quickly, they say that there are other ways to combat crimes, but they don't explain what, and also why is trafficking continuing if there are other ways to combat crimes. And that is the end of my summary, so therefore we urge an affirmative ballot. Thank you.
Okay, we will take running prep, and yeah, we'll take running prep starting in 3. All right, I'll just start it. I'll let you guys know how much. That was 45 seconds of prep. So, and we took 1 minute 9 last time. So just for everyone's reference. Okay. So again, my name is Ayan Garg. I'm first speaker for Acton-Boxborough. We are the NEG. Okay. As a quick off-time roadmap, our plan is to start on our case, go into my opponent's case, and then move on to some weighing and show why we clearly win this round. Okay. Time will start on my first word. Judge, look to our case first. All they say on our case is the consumers don't care and all our statistics are hypothetical. First of all, they say that we can see this in second cross. However, listen to second cross. They cut my partner off. My partner was clearly explaining this to them. He said, nope, I understand. They clearly do not understand. They cut him off. They don't let him explain. How can they make these assumptions? If you look at our actual card, we tell you this is supported by empirics. Amazon, Google, it happened the last time. Last time it happened, the same things happened. More than 50% of companies and people left U.S. business. The economy collapsed. The U.S. economy collapsed. That's what we tell you over and over again. They don't interact with this at all. Then they also talk about how only break factors cause vulnerabilities. Have we looked at our sources? The point is not backdoors. The point is vulnerabilities. If you're getting lawful access, it has to be some sort of access. Front door, back door, whatever it is. Whatever it is, it's your vulnerability. You can be hacked. As we talked about earlier, FBI has been hacked multiple times. The most secure institution in the entire United States. Of course, they must have the most advanced security measures. There's always a vulnerability. There's always a way to get in. And hackers are able to exploit that with these new ones. Now, go on to their case. First of all, they completely concede their entire terrorism contention, which we've already turned to our side. So make that offense for us. It's another reason why we win. They completely concede this, meaning if in the end you can go on this and it's a clean ballot for us. Now onto human trafficking. All they say is that prevents human trafficking because there's more platforms in the US and all. However, this makes no sense at all. Think about this logically. If someone is monitoring your communication channels, why can't you just switch to a different communication channel? We tell you that in rebuttal, they completely ignore this. Totally. Like this is only for US companies. Why can't you switch to a European company instead? There's countless opportunities. You can make your own. We tell you that they will switch, and if you give lawful access, it actually reduces the policing efforts after all, because it just makes it a far greater hassle. Now, they talk about also how they save millions of lives, but in their case, they only give evidence of 50 lives. They save 50 lives from Australia, and then also on top of that, the Australian economy lost billions of dollars. If you think about the billions of dollars in lower economies, people lose jobs and income. They become more desperate for opportunities, meaning they're more likely to do this human trafficking, to be human trafficked, to take loans and deals they can't pay back, which results in this human trafficking. Okay, now go on to the second part about lawful access is good. We've already discussed this. We've already discussed their entire thing. We've already showed how we link into their entire case. Now go to the weighing. We win on every front. The affirmative already concedes 3 huge impacts, trillions lost of encryption weekends. The internet collapses, climate change worsens. They also miss the point that it's perceptual. What does that mean? It means that even if you believe it's not true, the fact that consumers and businesses think it's true, meaning it is true. It is not contested throughout this round. All of our prerequisites are already met. Their lives impact is millions, ours is trillions, billions. We impact the entire world, all of climate change. We save the economy, we save climate change, we save the internet. Millions and billions of people rely on this. The world relies on this. We lose trillions of dollars. We cause the economy to collapse. We cause global climate change to stop working. We cause cybersecurity attacks. They only talk about 50 lives. We talk about the entire world. Probability, it's certain. It's happening right now. You must vote for the negation. Okay, are you guys ready for Grand Cross?
Wait,
Yeah.
sorry. I just want to confirm that last part of your weighing was 20 seconds over time. So I don't think.
No, it's actually 10 seconds. I have my timer open. It was 3:12.
Okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
And I have 45 seconds weighing anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay. You guys want first
Are
question?
we good to start, Coach?
What?
Yeah.
I just wait, I know if we're ready.
Yeah, we're ready.
Alright, cool. Sure. Do you guys want to take the first question?
Yeah.
First.
Okay.
So, you guys mentioned in your summary that like the FBI has been hacked multiple times. How does the FBI being hacked relate back to the resolution about lawful access into public end-to-end encrypted platforms if they are the law? Like the FBI people are the one accessing it. So, like, can you just re-explain how that contributes to the resolution?
Yeah, so this is something we talked about in rebuttal summary and actually first cross as well. We talk about how like if the FBI is able to be hacked, then like it's able to be hacked because of these vulnerabilities, which we gave cards for in rebuttal as well. It's too late to talk about that now anyway, but we gave cards that says like they created vulnerabilities in the FBI, which then caused it to be able to be hacked. So if you create any sort of vulnerability, it means that you can be hacked. Originally, the FBI didn't have any of these vulnerabilities. After they made a few changes in the security system, then they created these vulnerabilities. It doesn't matter if it's backdoor, front door, split key. Of course, the FBI is going to have the most secure one, but whatever it is, they still got hacked. Now, can I have a question, please?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your responses, or like, let's talk about this whole how criminals will continue to use the same encryption channels even though they're going to get caught.
Yeah.
Can you explain like the reasoning behind this, please?
Yeah, totally. So basically, my Polar's 20 evidence already tell you that there has been a significant 22% increase in online recruitment of human trafficking since the COVID-19 lockdown, with a 125% increase in.
Yeah.
Wait.
Sorry to cut you off here, but like that's just not what we're asking.
Wait,
we're asking
also,
if,
like, can I
if
like
they
clarify? Like, you tell me like all this and all that about your trafficking impact, but how much of this is, first of all, happening in the U.S. specifically because it's
Oh, that's from the U.S.
and
This is
then
the
also
ultimate-
because of specifically this encryption, like that's gotta be like a way smarter.
Well,
percentage.
that's what
How
I'm
can you
trying to
Yeah,
make
say.
that's
sure
what we're
they're
saying.
all stemming from-
125% increase in end-to-end encrypted messaging systems like Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, you guys can take a question.
Okay.
So you guys, okay, actually there's like multiple things. So you guys say like our impact is only 50 individuals in Australia. Did you read our SOLA 24 card, which is in the very beginning of our card of our case? It says that 1,091,000 people.
Sure, you can talk about this whatever you want. We've already addressed that card specifically in our summary, so I won't waste any more time talking about it here. You guys can ask another question if you want instead.
Sorry, wait. How did you address that card? Could you
Yeah.
like?
We've like cross-applied countless responses to it. You can look at our turns, look at our dealings. For example, we tell you that in the end, it doesn't matter because of what Trump is doing. In the end, it doesn't matter because of like we gave like 3 reasons in summary, so you guys can just look back at that. But quickly, we only have 20 seconds left. You guys still haven't answered my question. Why won't human
You
criminals
didn't ask
leave?
another question. So
What?
how are we
It was
going to
our-
answer it?
it was our question.
How
Yeah,
are you going
wait,
to answer
are
the
we?
question if you haven't asked it? Okay, that's
I know,
that.
I was in the middle of asking it. Okay, but I guess that's crossed now. Okay, you guys want the rest of your prep time?
Yeah.
Okay, 55 seconds if I'm not mistaken, or was it a minute? Okay, thank you.
All right, that was 55 seconds of prep. Okay. Just to reiterate, Judge, my name is Dundee. I'm the second speaker for Emerald DS, and I'll be giving the affirmative final focus now. All right, so just a quick off-time roadmap first. I'm just going to be going through my opponent's case, and then I'm going to be going through our case, and then I'm going to weigh. Is anyone not ready? All right, time will begin on my first word. Judge, this round is a clear affirmative ballot. First of all, in summary, they say on our backdoor response, they simply say that front doors are the same thing as back doors, but they don't address the fact that we clearly said there are examples of lawful access that are impossible for hackers to gain access to. What this means is people's privacy won't be violated because the type of lawful access we are talking about is impossible for hackers to access. This lawful access includes methods such as it's crowd encryption or a split key, which I've mentioned several times before. They have not brought this up. They've simply been generalizing everything into categories like front door access, but I'm talking specifically about types of lawful access that are impossible for hackers to access. They can see this by not mentioning the type of lawful access that I'm talking about. And furthermore, they say that criminals will switch to different U.S. companies. They claim that we don't address it, but I literally addressed their question in second rebuttal by explaining that the U.S. jurisdiction is applicable to these companies, as well as because these criminals are using the companies' encrypted communications to have an impact on U.S. citizens. So that means the U.S. gets jurisdiction over the companies. I don't get why they said that I didn't answer this when I clearly said it in rebuttal. Now onto our case. They don't say anything on our trafficking contention other than like the Trump administration isn't focusing on trafficking and other responses like this, but they never read a card for responses like these. They're all just analytics or random statements that they make without cards, so they don't consider any of these. Remember, our contention is talking about 1,091,000 people who are going through trafficking right now. All of their impacts have years to happen. We're telling you our impact is happening right now. The only way to save these people is if you affirm right now. If you negate, that means you'll be letting these 1,091,000 people die. At the end of their summary, they say the negation's impact is millions, billions, and trillions of people. But first of all, there's only 8 billion people on Earth, so they make it pretty clear that their only impact is using emotional appeal. They don't use proper weighing mechanisms, so consider this conceded. And thus, we outweigh, so we urge an affirmative ballot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we have what do we have? 109, 145. So we have 1 minute and 7 seconds. Okay, great. We will take that prep now. Thank you.
I think that was the remainder of our prep. So the order is just gonna be onto our case. So once again, we are the negation. Then onto their case, I'll be comparing the worlds, weighing them for you, so you can kind of see what it looks like between both sides. And yeah, is anyone not ready? I'm Hanwen Tang, second speaker on the neg. All good? Awesome. So my timer will begin in 3, 2, 1. Remember, they need to win on 3 different fronts to win the round. The most important is our case. It doesn't matter if it's a backdoor or not. It's a vulnerability which they've conceded. The FBI got hacked this way. Any vulnerability is bad. They've conceded this too. Hackers gain access anyways. Look to our October 2025 evidence that we've read over and over again throughout the round. Our evidence is far more recent. You must prefer it. The affirmative cold concedes 3 huge impacts. First is the trillions lost in internet collapse if encryption weakens. The second is the climate change worsens. Now, they also missed the point that it's perceptual. What does this mean? It means that if you believe that it's even if you believe that these people will not switch, the fact that the consumers and businesses think that the US has these vulnerabilities, they think that they're bad, that means they will divert and not go to these US companies. Now, this is a clean link into the fall of the tech sector in the world's biggest economy, which affects the most lives. It's conceded. Their impact actually says that it's 50 lives. You can read their card. The rest is hypothetical, and they can't even quantify if it's in the US or not, and if all these are because of encryption. They can't tell you what percentage is from that. Look at that thing. Even if you buy that, it's 1 million lives. We save the economy, which all lives hinge on, not just that 1 million. We also save climate change, which affects the entire world. Perception is not years back as they talk about. It's in front of focus. It's completely instant. And trillions of people, we talk about the trillions of money. The money is what saves lives, and lives is the impact. So yes, we agree. Lives are important, and we have the bigger impact. We went on their case too. They've conceded multiple key responses in the round and have not compared our case to theirs. They've just reiterated their case. Let's actually look at the both worlds. The negative agrees that lawful access sounds nice on paper, but our work evidence shows that any backdoor, even lawful ones, weakens encryption for everyone. Their terrorism contention is offense for us and a ballot for us because they've conceded the turn. 3 things on their case. They've ignored that criminals can just switch to other places that are not in the US, and that's not even what their evidence is saying. They've also ignored the turn that encryption is protecting human trafficking victims, which turns their case. It's been reiterated through the round. We break the clash. We take the app into account. There is also contextualization. If you have trouble with your ballot, remember who does a real comparison, the real magnitude, and historical precedence. We win the round. Thank you.
Great round, guys.
Great round. You guys were really good.
Yeah.
Good round.
Good round, guys.
Good round. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, thank you for judging.
Are you gonna be disclosing right now or on time, Judge?
I will think about it and then leave the comments or yeah,
Okay.
I'll just leave it in the.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
guys. Good luck.
Good
Thank
luck.
you. Good luck on your future rounds. Yeah, you guys are good.
Thanks. You too.